Hey, what is going on, you guys? IJ16 here, bringing you another video today. And today in this video, we've got some brand new Destiny 2 news to go over and talk about. Now, this news is going to be coming from an article on heavy.com, so there was a very long interview with a lot of stuff, but I'm going to really be picking out what's really interesting from this article. Now, you can actually check out the entire thing. Just go to heavy.com and go into the search bar and type of Destiny, and it should be there. Now, first thing I want to talk about is really how mechanics are, raid mechanics and all that could be changing or staying the same. But one of the questions was asked was, what some people might not know is there are some pretty serious puzzles in the first Destiny. Are you looking to integrate those more into core game, or are those strictly for raids and side quests? And Deej replied with, I think there is definitely a time for those sort of things. Solving riddles, working together to solve puzzles is definitely an aspect of the Destiny player experience. One of the things we wanted to do is make raids more accessible. There are plenty of people in our community who have never played a raid, so to suddenly take all the things out of the raids and scatter them across the entire landscape of the game would probably create a barrier for certain people to even finish the game and not understand Destiny. So basically the question being asked was, raids and some side quests have quite complicated puzzles and mechanics. Are you going to be scattering them around to strikes, story, and other activities? And Deej is really saying, he goes against this and really says, no, we're probably not going to be adding that, just because, you know, some people, in fact, a lot of new people are joining this game and would never have experienced Destiny before, don't even know what the mechanics are like, and to suddenly throw that all in their face is a bit harsh in a sense. You know, I mean, it'd be quite nice to see a lot more mechanics involved in a lot of things, but I mean, I see where he's coming from about all the, you know, throwing binary in there, and, you know, all that stuff, like throwing Outbreak Prime sort of stuff in their face immediately. Now, Deej did say something very interesting about what they're doing with public events. He said this: we are doing some interesting things with public events where they would have heroic modifiers, so you're playing a public event with a bunch of people you've never met before, and the more you engage, the more you double down on that public event. The more complex it might become, the better the rewards will become. I don't think we would want to take something as enjoyable as the campaign mission and all of a sudden have it be a whittler or a puzzler. Then the solo casual players who just want to go in and blow some stuff up and see more fantastic art that transports their imagination to a strange new world to interrupt the experience and go, do you know what binary is? So basically, two things he's saying there is public events are changing, so the more you do public events now, the more difficult it will become, the more rewards you get, and possibly even modifiers. So are we going to see strike tier modifiers on public events? That would definitely make public events a lot more interesting to play. And another thing he said is, again, about you don't really want to take everything out and, you know, have the solo players who really just want to go in and then get interrupted with what is binary, which is a nod to the Outbreak Prime quest, which is a good point. You've got players out there who are gonna be solo, and then they just want to go in, have some fun, and then they get interrupted by all these crazy puzzles. And, you know, some of the puzzles in Destiny do require some communication, for example. Now, I do know what some of you are probably thinking at this point, and that is Destiny really for casual players and not the elite players like, you know, some people have been playing Destiny 1 for a long time? Deej sort of has a explanation to this. He says, we definitely go out of our way to appease the 1%ers, and we want hopefully for that number to go up a bit. There are many people who have played Destiny who've never experienced what many regard to be the finest content. You know, they'll say, yeah, Destiny's pretty cool, but man, have you played the raid? No, I can never scrap together 6 people and go and play that with me. And you need 6 people talking and communicating and collaborating to solve those puzzles. If we just collide them in and atom smasher and say, okay, half of you have microphones, good luck solving this riddle together, we just don't think that would result in a good experience for the player. So going back to what I just said earlier, it is really that, you know, like I said, raids do require high tier communication, and for them to have a story mission, which is by the way solo, and for them to throw a massive riddle in their face to say, yeah, you can't pass until you have this riddle. Oh yeah, by the way, this story mission does require 3 people, so if you didn't have 3 people, you can't progress through the story and do this riddle. Just spend like a few hours trying to figure this out, you know. So I do see where he's coming from there, and it's like they do try, and they really are focusing on the 1%ers, like the people who are like, you know, elite, who've played Destiny for a long time and just do everything, know what they're doing, and then they don't want new players though having just all this thrown in their face. I mean, come on, people spend days trying to figure out a raid. You see 12-hour live streams flipping, even 2 days later, people haven't still figured out what to do in a raid. To add all those in solo player stories and public events and strikes, it would just absolutely go downhill. Because imagine having, you know, spending 2 days trying to figure out trying to figure out how to do a story mission or a strike. It wouldn't really make a campaign. You know, people like to complete the campaign, and you know, a raid is there for a reason. It's the hard mode activity. So even though I really like to see a lot more mechanics, you know, the raid is the hard mode activity for a reason, and you know, that's said to be what's going to be really difficult. Story missions aren't known to be really difficult with all these mechanics, same with strikes, but raids are sort of known for that. And you know, this they also said about they can't, you know, it's struggling to get 6 players together, and this is also why they're adding in guided games, which I'm sort of glad about, because even though we had LFG and you know that worked pretty well, and you know, solo players pretty much could do everything with LFG, you know, come on, tell me there hasn't been a time where you have sat there for an hour trying to find a team, and you get a team and they're either really good or they are the worst team you have ever bumped into. You know, and you spend an hour trying to look for that team, you know, you got posts everywhere, and then you have to go through the long process of messaging them, inviting them, you know, getting all the people together. With now you can really go onto a clan system and join up with a group, which if you don't like them, you can just try find another group. Even though it is really similar to LFG, you know, guided games I just feel like I know is going to be a little bit easier, and you know, a lot more people will be able to become those 1% players, and hopefully in future expansions they'll add a lot more mechanics in. Now this is actually something really interesting that I stumbled into. Now, they asked the question, for Sherpas and people who carry kindergartens through content, are you looking to reward them for helping others? Deej replies with, are you a member of a clan? Heavy says, I am. And Deej says, you'll find that being a member of a clan is extremely beneficial. Every member of your clan will earn rewards as you do things, and the more you do things, the more they'll be rewarded. Now that is very interesting. So do they have a new clan system now where, say, the more you do these activities, the more points you get, and your clan will be rewarded for the more things you do? So say a member of your clan does the raids every single reset, the challenge modes on every character, and your clan keeps on doing the same thing, and you do a lot of stuff. Maybe you gather now points for your clan, and you get rewards at, say, maybe the end of the month, or a day, or just get random rewards. Now that is actually pretty cool, to reward your clan for the more stuff you've done. Maybe they could even have a clan of the month, where that clan of the month receives a really good reward for the more things they've done. And that would probably get a lot more people playing the activities, because hey, we're in a clan, we'll just go and do more activities to get the loot, because that's pretty much the whole point of Destiny. Now next up we have strike boss mechanics. Now we have seen strike boss mechanics in Destiny 1, say with the new updated Nexus Mine Strike, and other strikes where really you have certain things that you need to use in order to take down the boss. Now a question was asked, when it comes to bosses, is Destiny 2 looking to introduce more unique mechanics that are tied to those specific strikes? Deej replies with, strike bosses are certainly more elaborate than like a campaign mini boss, and raid bosses are the ultimate enemies. Figuring these things out while you play is really the essential experience of Destiny. Sometimes brute strength is required, sometimes brute strength is required, sometimes an interesting combination. Oh boy, I almost just spoiled something. So it does look like that there'll be a lot more like strike boss mechanics to strikes. So like you have to do a certain thing to take down a strike boss's shield, which I'm certainly happy about, because to be honest with you, strike bosses are really you do strikes quite a lot, and sometimes they just feel a bit boring, but it make it more interesting if they add mechanics to the strikes, not too difficult puzzles and mechanics, but just like what they did with the Nexus Strike. So like you have to pick up the shield and take down his shield, and there we go, you've defeated him. And what they did with the the updated Nexus Strike was really interesting, and I hope they sort of do more with this stuff. Now next up, they go on to say, a question was asked, for the raid and other post-game content, what are you looking to offer players after they've completed the story? Now, Deej goes on to say, specifically relative to the raid, that is an excellent question, and laughs. Beyond the campaign, once the last cinematic plays out, I think you're going to find a lot more variety when you're in a destination. You open up the map, and the map will be littered with all these different things you can do. You go on an adventure that will tell you more about those destinations and characters you'll discover in those places. You're used to walking up to a character in the tower in social spaces like the Reef or Fellwinter Peak, but you'll actually walk up to those characters and in destinations and interact with them. So first of all, we got some really interesting information about how like places will be filled with content, which is very good to know. And how you now interact more with characters, which is one thing that's good more about Destiny 2, because say someone like, I don't know, Banshee died. Would anyone really care? Would anyone, to be honest with you, really care? No, because we wouldn't really have had be able to interact with that character and get to know more about those characters. But with Destiny 2, like interacting more with people like Amanda Holiday, Zavala, Cade, all them people, you start to create sort of a bond with them in the game, and it becomes quite sad when they die. And then they said they have one final question, and it says, will you go on to record and confirm the Warlock is the best class? And he says yes. I don't think so. No, I'd say Hunter. Even though the Hunter doesn't have the best subclasses in Destiny 2, come on, we all know it's the Hunter. Hunter, Master Race, Well, anyway, guys, that is it for this video today. If you like what you see in this channel, don't forget to drop a like below. Comment down below your thoughts. I'll leave a link in the description to the article. And subscribe for more Destiny 2 content. And I'll see you guys in the next video.